Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that's about all the other things that we discovered throughout the week that have nothing to do with podcasts. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And I think that we have talked before about the hippos that are literally the relatives of Pablo Escobar's hippos.
Yes, we have. Pablo Escobar.
So it started as 4 hippos, and apparently he had like an entire zoo, a la Joe Exotic, but more, actually maybe about the same amount of cocaine. It was probably the same in either case. But he had a bunch of animals, and they were all relocated except for hippos. And so 4 hippos were released into Colombia.
That seems like a really bad idea.
And now there's 80 hippos in Colombia. There
we go.
Just from those 4. So one day there might be a full population because it's exponential. It's going to get wild. But I found an article today that was talking about how maybe they're not invasive. They're scary. Sure. They are. I think they are many times one of the most dangerous land animals because they are very territorial. And if you're in their water with a boat, they attack you and can easily flip your boat and destroy you.
Territorial and they have. I listened to a episode of Snap Judgment where a guy was attacked by one.
By a hippo in a boat?
And like he vividly gave descriptions of like the tusks going through his leg and thinking he was going to die and the people next to him dying, like being killed. It's a horrible story, but it was crazy. And it made me never want to be anywhere near a hippo.
Okay, so you can't go to wherever this is in Colombia. But there were scientists who essentially looked at it in a different way. So yes, they are a pretty terrifying animal in a certain situation. But what they were questioning is what has been their positive effect on the environment, because their premise anyways was for thousands of years, up until about 10,000 years ago, there was huge megafauna all across the Americas. You know, there was giant, if you look into it, it's awesome. There was giant sloths, which were how avocados were naturally spread, because sloths would eat the entire thing, and they were so big that they just eat an entire avocado, and they were the primary like distributor of avocado seeds. And so there was a lot of these things that all the megafauna's gone because of humanity, because we hunted all of them. Like any of these big things, we hunted them. I think the same thing with the mammoths. That was, I think, the last one to remain, and they were hunted to extinction. So the question is, if you reintroduce megafauna into an area, is there positive effects? And so basically the thought is they're essentially like water cows. They would have filled a similar role to some of the megafauna in the area, and they are helping bring different like fertilizer to waterways and to like, they've changed how the ecosystem works. And I also saw on the same article, there are apparently camels in Australia now, and they're considered invasive. So
I didn't know there was camels in Australia now.
There is. They also compare it to the feral hogs in North America, which they are. That one is fairly invasive because it's not 80, it's millions, and it's millions of dollars in damage.
You ever go to your backyard and you see that it looks like an alien landed there with a spaceship? It's from a freaking hog, because they can do some damage.
It's fast.
Quickly.
Yeah, they just root up everything. It's really crazy. And when you had the farm, you would see just tracks. So you'd lay plastic and you'd walk out there, and there'd just literally be a track straight through all the roads, like just directly across.
I spent so much money on plastic one year, and like the day after I put brand new plastic down, which is always like, oh, it looks so great and ready for a new crop. I come out the next day and there's a trail all the way across the whole plastic of this giant hog that went across everything. And he did it multiple times.
Yeah, hog don't care. Don't care. He's not looking for like, because there is pathways, because tractors have to get through there, but they don't care about that.
He went the most difficult way possible. It's so hard to go over those stupid
he went
beds.
in a straight direction, and it wasn't hard for him because he just walked straight in them. But there's a lot of these that are, in some cases, destructive. But the entire premise of this is essentially we were, for a long time, megafauna was a part of ecology, and now it's not. So in some cases, there could be positive effects. So it was just interesting to read about something. Everybody was always just like, oh, these are this is going to be a problem, these hippos. And this article is questioning whether maybe they're not.
That is interesting because we always think of something that's not native to there as immediately just, well,
And a lot of times it is.
We have a history of seeing that in action.
Yeah, a lot of times.
And making mistakes.
No, a lot of
doing
times
that.
it is. But a lot of times those are also put there on purpose, like the cane toads, and I think that's Australia too. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about it. That wouldn't work out
they,
well either.
I think there was some kind of a beetle that ate some kind, like one of their crops. So they're like, oh, we'll get this frog to eat the beetle, win-win. But now the frogs aren't eating the beetles; they're eating everything else. So they've like decimated other random populations of critters, and then also they're extremely toxic. So people's dogs like eat them and they die, and they have blown up in population to the point where they're just all over the roads and all over the place. So that's not to say that every introduced species is a good thing, but just questioning that and like taking a different look at it was interesting to me.
Yeah. So I have a discovery that I found this week, and it is about The Office. Mm-hmm. So at lunchtime today, I said we're going to watch an episode of The Office while we eat our lunches, and we watched the episode where, what is it called? Michael Scott's Last Dundies or something like that. So it was literally Steve Carell's last episode.
Oh, was it? They filmed that one last?
That was his last episode that he was on set. And the interesting part is that he had never seen them rehearse the song until the day of it recorded.
Oh, really?
So a lot of that emotion where he gets all tearing up and like very emotional was real because he had never, I'm sure he'd probably seen it in the script that there was going to be a song.
Yeah.
He may not have even seen the words to the song, but he had never seen, they purposefully did all the rehearsals and stuff away from him so that he didn't know anything about it, so that it would be more real during that moment when they actually sang the song. And it is pretty emotional.
Yeah, that's cool.
And also, I mean, they talk about other times when something like that would happen during the filming of the show. In fact, they talk a little bit about Office Ladies because Jenna Fisher does a little bit of a pull back the curtain on one of those. When Jim and Pam get married and they do like her family does the dance down the aisle and stuff. She had never seen anybody rehearse that, and she said she was crying like uncontrollably because she thought it was great. But yeah, it's a...
No, they definitely, it seems like they realized that it was a pretty big deal for Steve Carell to leave, because I think they did a couple moments like that, because I think it was some good news.
Yes.
Where John Krasinski was talking about them filming their last scene together with Jim and Michael, and they were both just like, it took like 20 takes because they both just cried for multiple of them.
Yes.
And then Jenna Fisher also has talked about when Michael's at the airport and she like runs, like she almost misses Michael when he's leaving, and she runs to the airport and gets to like hug him and say goodbye, but he'd already unplugged his mic. And so she ran up to him and you can't hear what's said, but they just like talk and then hug each other. She said that she essentially just said bye to Steve Carell, not to Michael.
Oh, man.
So they did a lot of like cool stuff around that.
So there's a quote by Jenna Fisher. In the episode where we all sang to Steve the goodbye song, we all rehearsed without him for a couple of days. And so the first time that he heard it was when we sang it to him on camera. So his emotions there were very real. I just thought it was a nice, and that's why I wanted to watch it again, because I wanted to see what they were talking about.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I think now, I don't really know for sure because you've hit the notes again, but I think it's now time for a call.
It's time for PDS hotline calls.
So anybody who's been listening for a little bit will maybe recognize this caller, but this caller is back.
Johnny's giving us a call, and he's got a discovery this week.
He does.
And it's not mayonnaise related.
It might be. You never know, really. So, okay. So I'm gonna mute our mics because actually, no, we listen to them. So I'm gonna play this for all of you to enjoy.
Hey, boys, it's Johnny. How you all doing? I hope you guys are having a good week. I know I am. Hey, listen, I just wanted to say thank you so much for playing my message again. I really, really do appreciate it. And it got me thinking of some of the discoveries I could share with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I got something here, and I think I'm going to start like a little weekly segment called Johnny's Culinary Tips of the Week. I know you guys like to cook. You always talking about food, and I got some good advice for you. So here it goes. Johnny's Culinary Tips of the Week. Oh. All right. So my tip for this week, and listen up close here. If you are making a custard, you have to properly temper the eggs. And what that means is you got to make sure when you boil that milk, and then you got your eggs over to the side, you have to pour the milk in real slow so that you don't end up with scrambled eggs. And that was Johnny's Culinary Tip of the Week. Yeah. Y'all have a good week. I'll talk to you later.
Zach, you've made a custard.
I have.
Is this a thing?
That is 100% accurate. 100% accurate. Johnny is on the money. If you don't do that, you end up with really sweet scrambled eggs.
That doesn't sound
It is
very
not.
appealing.
It's not pleasant in any way. So he's absolutely correct. So thank you so much for your culinary tip, Johnny. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we both do like to cook.
Johnny's Cooking Show Discoveries. That's my take of his.
That's good. I like it. So we also have one more caller that we're going to let you guys enjoy right now.
Hi guys, oh my goodness, you played my song, it was so sweet, thank you so much. Well, that took me like 100 hours to write, and oh my goodness, it was so hard to come up with some of those words, but you guys played it. Oh. Okay, anyway, so I'm so sorry that I didn't get a chance to call last week, because it was bath week for my 27 cats. Yes, you heard that right. There are 27 cats that I live with, along with my mom. And yeah, oh, it's crazy. Have you ever tried to give a bath to a cat before? It is bizarre. Oh my goodness. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, and I really like you guys a lot. And I'm just really, really looking forward to maybe writing another song in the future. When I get some time. So I love you all, and remember, say yes to the PDF. Oh yeah. Bye.
Well, we don't know this mysterious caller's name, but thank you for calling in. And we'll take this as another opportunity to say, if you want to get in touch with us, we have a disco hotline. You can call directly to the show. And that's honestly, that's part of why we started live streaming in the beginning, is to find a way to engage with people, find a way to engage with a podcast, because that was something that we'd looked for several times, because right now it's basically just reach out on Twitter or whatever else. But we wanted to have it so that podcasting could be a more collaborative experience.
Mm-hmm. So you can tell us about your 27 cats that you have to bathe on the same day.
I can't imagine what it's like to bathe one cat. So bathing 27 cats at one, actually, no, he didn't say it was at one time. I was like, maybe he has one of those showers with like a door on it. You just throw all the cats in there and just turn the shower on and just let the chaos happen. I don't know. I don't know how you wash 27 cats, but he's out there fighting the good fight and trying to do it. And that's something I think we can all appreciate.
I have a very amazing discovery that I got this week. I found this on Reddit. It's one of the more uplifting stories that I've read in a very long time.
I like it so far.
So it's about the lady that invented the game Candyland.
Okay.
I will say I hate the game. It's boring. And
I loved it as a child.
I did love it as a child. But as an adult, you're like, this is
it's
just RNG.
It's literally spin the thing, and how many mud spaces do I go? I don't really remember the game. It was a long time ago. But
it is still one of the top-selling children's games. It still sells almost 1 million units per year.
Wow.
Yeah. Now. And that's
when was
ridiculous.
It invented? Oh, 67?
1948 is when she invented it. I'm sure it wasn't patented, became like a marketed thing till later. But Eleanor Abbott invented the candy cane or Candyland in a San Diego hospital because she was diagnosed with polio. And during that time, they kind of quarantined anybody that had polio. So she was in a wing of the hospital for polio patients. And she was surrounded by children that had the same disease. And she saw how bored they were and how there was nothing at all for them to do. So when she was there, the experience inspired her to create a game that would entertain children during a painful and lonely time in their lives. Candyland was so popular among the young hospital patients that Abbott decided to pitch it to toy manufacturers Milton Bradley. And then it quickly became the company's highest selling board game. And they talk about, why it became popular, because it was right after World War II and stuff like that. But I mean, the thing that I've never thought about, and it does shed a different light, is that it was made to you could play this by yourself. I didn't even know you could play Candyland by yourself.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, but she made it so that these kids that are literally not allowed to play with anybody else, because most board games were to be played with other people. This was one of the first board games ever where you could play it by yourself and entertain yourself.
No, and with you could even grab multiple players and...
But it was a very uplifting story of how she went through this horrible experience. She saw a need. She saw, kids that were, so sad they were bored. We're not even in even close to that situation, but we still see kids that are extremely bored.
It does make me feel...
It makes more sense now.
It makes me feel real whiny. It for sure does.
If Candyland promised children visions of unlimited sweets, what Candyland offered parents was the image of children who were quite happy to play alone. And then it talks about how they were able to play by themselves. It's a great story. And during a horrible time. So it started in a polio ward, but sweet little game for sweet little folks. That's the way she coined it.
That is sweet right there. It is. That's very...
This kind of blew me away, though. She donated all the royalty income that she received from Candyland to charities dedicated to serving children in need. This lady was amazing.
What's her name again? I want to know her name.
Eleanor Abbott.
It's worth knowing. That's an incredible story. So, on a very, very different note.
Uh-oh.
Welcome to Agility Prime. Have you heard of this?
No. We need a jingle?
No.
Dang it.
I'm sure the Air Force is going to make one up. This is the Air Force's new initiative to build flying cars.
Finally.
It's called Agility Prime. And I'll just read you the first part of this. They will host a digital launch of Agility Prime, its flying car development and acquisition effort, from April 27th to May 1st. Next Monday is the start of the live Agility Prime stuff. So, on Monday, you get the opening ceremony. You get the envision of the future of flying orbs with the U.S. government. This is real life. This is happening Monday. Well, when this airs, it'll be happening this day. Orbs? That's what we're going to find out on Monday. Agility Prime.
Oh, man.
Tuesday, flight test. Rapid contracting and airworthiness to speed orb development. Perspectives from the early innovators who've been driving change. Wednesday.
Wait. I'm confused. I thought this was maybe an initiative to get flying cars made. You know how we're going to give $1 million to the first company that can make a flying car. This is like the military coming out with they're basically declassifying something. It sounds like.
I don't know.
The way this looks, it looks like they're declassifying something that they've had for a little bit.
No, everything about this is also meant for commercial too. This is not a purely military thing. They want flying cars.
I mean, I want a flying car.
Since I watched the Jetsons, I've wanted a flying car. I mean, if it doesn't turn into a briefcase, I'm going to be mostly disappointed, but it'll still be worth it, I think. Although I've seen people drive normal cars, and I do not trust them being able to fly.
If you're going to have flying cars, I feel like they need to be self-flying cars.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that could be good. Or a very, very strict testing thing to even be able to drive one or fly one. They don't let any random jabroni be a pilot. You have to prove that you can actually fly a plane, and that's what this would be. But basically, I just saw that the Air Force is leaning into trying to figure out how we can make flying cars. So they apparently released their ICO, and it describes the need for an aircraft that can move up to 8 passengers at ranges greater than 100 miles and at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour.
Nice.
The first flight of a full-scale demonstrator planned for no later than December 17th, 2020. Like this year, people, this year we are seeing them try to make a flying car. And I don't know why the U.S. Air Force is... Because honestly, it looks pretty awesome. Like their marketing stuff is pretty good.
Because why not?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. What I'm curious about is on Tuesday, April 28th, it says flight test. And I don't know what that means. They might have left it intentionally vague. I don't know. But
I love how it says speed orb.
I know they call it a speed orb constantly. That's what they're calling it, a speed orb. What? Not flying car, speed orb.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, no,
I'm excited to see what this is going to be.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. What is the time for this event schedule?
If they do it on Facebook, we will have a watch party in this Discovery Club. Okay. First of it, I don't know. Opening ceremony, honestly, they've put a lot of marketing budget into this. It might be kind of awesome. I don't know. But it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern on Monday, the 27th. And then there's another at 3 to 5, envisioning the future of flying orbs with the U.S. government. Tuesday, flight test, rapid contracting, and airworthiness to speed orb development.
We're watching that one.
So I'm guessing they don't have an actual flight test. They're going to talk about how they flight test. Because they're talking about how to, like, contract and develop the orb, the flying orb. Or the speed orb, whatever they called it.
That's what I'm so confused about. It's like
I don't think they have one. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm less excited than I was.
I
thought they were like, hey, we've had this thing for a little bit. Now we're gonna make it a car.
Yeah, I don't know
because we couldn't figure out how to kill people with it, so we're gonna just make it a car.
Yeah, I don't know. So basically, there's going to be a whole week of press releases from the Air Force about the speed orb.
Hey, 2020. Has sucked.
Yeah, we need something.
But if we get flying cars in 2020, it might offset things just a little bit.
It would.
I don't think it would make things completely better.
It'd take a little sting off it.
It'd take a little bit of the sting out.
It at least let us distract ourselves for a second. That's fine.
Then we could just kill ourselves with the car.
Yeah. Then we could just get in a flying car and none of us know how to fly it, and then it's fine. It's good that way. But yeah, no, I saw, and I mean the name Agility Prime.
Agility Prime.
Sounds like a transformer. No, but it
sounds like a jabroni energy drink.
It does sound like a jabroni energy drink.
Oh, man. Yes, it does.
So I do have one more that was literally, I started thinking about it because we talked to somebody today and he mentioned Victory Gardens. And it's kind of one of those times that I know for a fact I have been doing a lot more gardening. Kirk is getting back into it. A lot of people have seen the opportunity to start working on your yard again because there's less options for what you can do in your free time. And today we literally, somebody mentioned Victory Gardens. I was like, so this is interesting. This was like a push by the U.S. government. And then like, look at this. I'll have to link this. This propaganda poster is awesome. And that's literally a World War II era propaganda poster. But basically, the entire premise is as much of the food as possible was being sent overseas because we've never seen, well, we haven't seen in our lifetimes a conflict of this scale. So everything shifted. That's why women in the workforce really boomed at that time because all the men were overseas. And so that's why you had like Rosie the Riveter and you had things like that because they were dealing with manufacturing while everybody was overseas. And one of the other things that they really emphasized was Victory Gardens. And so to boost the ever lessening amount of food that was available and just try and just generally help out the public, they told everybody to start a garden in your own yard and to kind of take care of it. And this wasn't exclusively for Americans. This was everywhere. And this was something that we also talked about today, where this was something that was much more common in the past, where people would have small gardens pretty much constantly because everything was seasonal. They didn't have traditional markets like we have now. where you can get any food any time of year without seasons. In the past, it was literally what is seasonally available because that's what's being grown right now. That's what's there. So for a long time they did that. And it's just really interesting to think about how they really emphasize the gardens, and it kind of fits perfectly into right now, where everybody could have kind of a victory garden right now as well. Because I think both of us would say to everyone is like, it's fun to do. It's very rewarding to grow food and to get to like spend time farming at some scale, not like commercial farming, but getting in the soil and making something that you can eat.
We're going through this weird time where it's like, hey, what's the worst case scenario? Maybe I need a garden just in case.
It doesn't hurt either way, because I can say right now, you can do herb garden is a great starting point. You will use it. Trust me. I mean, I always recommend people getting mint, because literally if you make one round of mint juleps, it's all gone. You will use it and it's worth it. It's delicious.
Mint juleps be so good.
Oh, they're so good. And honestly, the best way to make water next level is you take a cold glass of ice water, you add a slice of lemon, or not lemon, lemon's stupid, lime, and then you add a sprig of mint.
Stupid lemon.
It is stupid. It's not my favorite. But yeah, Victory Garden's a really cool thing. I will link this in the show notes. It was something that was all through the major world wars. They emphasized people grow stuff in their yard, and I think we're at a perfect opportunity now to do the same thing and to just build something. It feels very rewarding. And for the final discovery of the week, it is the band of the week. And I technically have not released this episode at the time of this recording, but it'll be out by the time it airs. And his name is David Matters. And he was in a band called Gypsy Moon for a long time. And now he's in a band called Life Like Water. And this is one of the most incredible conversations I've had on Creators Cove up to this point. He spent 3 years hitchhiking and playing across the Americas, and that includes he went up to Alaska, he went to South America, and it was an incredible experience talking with him. He's a very, very uplifting person. He writes music that is generally uplifting, and so if you'd like to hear more about him, that'll be on Creators Cove, and he's an incredible guy. He's also live streaming a lot right now. And he's also recording his podcast.
Oh, he has a podcast too,
It's called Creative Awakening Now, and it's similar to mine, where he talks to musicians, and it's very, very uplifting. He really is just has a really positive energy. But off his new album that dropped this year called I Am Listening, this song is called Bitter to the Taste. As always, get in touch with us however you can. Rating and review. If you leave a shirt size, you get a shirt kind of like this, but not a hoodie, just this logo. Courtesy of Brands and Empires, host and legend. And also just call our Disco Hotline. Join the Podcast Discovery Club on Facebook. Get in touch however you can. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening. And once again, this is Bitter to the Taste by Life Like Water.
See you next week.